Okay, we welcome to month number 11 for Windsong. These are our double hourglass blocks. So you have hourglasses in the middle, you have half square triangles in the corner, and these are just solid squares. So all of the solid squares are cut to 4.5 by 4.5, and you have them in fabric 1, 2, 4, and 6. And this is kind of one of those when we get to the end when we're putting all the elements together, you know, that whole organization thing. So we're going to start with our center of our hourglasses. And that's going to be with, this one is fabric 8 and fabric 3. And then you're going to have hourglasses with, ta-da, fabric 13, 1, and 4. So let's start with this and then we'll talk about the other hourglass. When we do the hourglass, I'm going to sew fabric 3 to fabric number 8. I'm going to mark my center, sew either side, and I'm going to cut this in half. All right. And in this case, because they're both the same fabric, press towards the dark, because I like to do that. I'm going to mark the center of this. You can iron, you can use a marking tool, and I'm going to butt this seam to this one as tight as I can, lining the points up. I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on either side of my marked line. I'm going to cut these in half to get my hourglasses. These are oversized. You're going to be trimming down to 4.5 by 4.5, marking from your center. All right, you're going to drop the picot on the middle intersection point before you trim. You're going to be doing that with this, again, because they're just two different fabrics. That's awesome and easy. When you do this, you're going to make half square triangles with the white and the green, so 1 and 13, and then you're going to do half square triangles with number 4 and 13. Butt them together to make the center here. You are going to be making 4 of these, and you are going to be making 8 of these as centers. Okay, now we got half square triangles. Half square triangles, and these are pretty big. These are done with 5-inch squares, where you're going to have 2 5-inch squares. You're going to put one on top of the other. You're going to mark your center line. You're going to sew 1/4 inch on each side. You're going to press them open after you cut, and then you're going to trim to 4.5 by 4.5. Now, these are a little tight on the trimming, so you really want to line that seam up with your diagonal. So usually what I do on my first cut, I will slide this as far to the right as I can, trim the minimal amount, and then come around the other direction. And then this will be a bigger cut on this side, so you know you have a good 4.5 by 4.5. Okay, so once you have your half square triangles, and there's a whole bunch of them, got 1 and 2. You have so you have 1 and 2, 2 and 4, 4 and 6, and 6 and 1. Okay, let's do it this way. 1 and 2, 2 and 4, 4 and 6, 6 and 1. And you're kind of going to mix and match these. That's when the real fun comes in. Okay. So when you start laying these out, I am going to lay out all of my pieces first for one block. Okay. Okay, so this is double hourglass number 1. We are making 4 of these. You're going to start with your hourglass in the middle, and then you're going to put fabric 2 on either side of the dark. You're going to match fabric 4 and fabric number 1. These are the 4.5-inch squares. And then you're going to put your half square triangles in to make this hourglass shape. Okay, so you'll be making 4 of this configuration. And then you will be making 8 of this second configuration, where you start with your center, and then you're going to put fabric 6 on either side. So this one's a little wackier because the center is a different color than the other, than the hourglass pieces. 6, 1, and 4. And then you're going to put your hourglass pieces to make, let's see, this variation with the 6s there. And where'd my last block go? There we go. Ta-da! And you'll be making 8 of these, okay? When we are done with these, we have one more block, and then we'll be putting on kind of that final edge of our quilt and then borders. We are very, very close. See you next month.